It is my favorite hour of the entire week. It is where we get to talk about what happened over the weekend, the last week, with one of my favorite human beings in the world. This is your new favorite pro wrestling show that has credibility, well over 20, 30 years inside of the WWE. It's the Coach and Bro Show, and I am the coach, who is my partner, of course, from russosbrand.com. My main man who's ready for this Thursday. What is that, Vince?
It's a good old playground beating up baseball, man. Look at that thing of beauty right there.
That looks like it's from the Sandlot when the dog got a hold
of
it, right? Remember that?
3 days.
Coach, how fired up are you?
I got to tell you, man, this is a little off what we're going to talk about, but man, this is really freaking bizarre, Coach. And I'm concerned because it obviously is going to affect me fantasy baseball wise, and it's going to affect a lot of people out there. You know, millions and millions of people play fantasy, and it's going to affect a lot of people out there. Bro, have you heard the latest on Mookie Betts?
I saw a picture. He's down over 20 pounds so far. It's scary. I think it's way more than what people are letting on. He's really sick.
Well,
it's
bro,
scary.
There was there was an interview with him yesterday. So we really got to hear from him. Coach, he's gone from 175 to 157.
Wow.
Everything he eats, he throws up. But the doctors say he is 100% healthy. Like, they've tested everything. They've run him through the mill. Like, there is nothing wrong, but anytime he tries to eat something, he's throwing it up. So He basically is not eating. So the dude weighs 157 pounds.
He's small anyway. Yeah. This would scare me. As I get into this age of my life, middle age, anything health-wise scares me.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah.
Hopefully the best. He's also a good dude. He's a great dude, too.
Yeah.
A few times I've been around him. Could not be nicer. Could not be better. But you will be a part of the coaching company every Wednesday moving forward. You'll be doing our baseball handicapping. I can't wait for you to get back on Rant Wednesday. We've missed you on Rant Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll be back. We are, because Thursday we're kicking off, Coach.
That's exactly right. All right, so here on this show, we tackle some of the biggest topics, but you're not going to see us fluff where we break down every show segment by segment. That's not who we are. We talk about bigger topics, bigger things going on, as Vince and I have spent, like I said, quarter of a century inside the walls of WWE. Vince, let the good people know at home how they can have their voice heard here on our show.
Yeah, guys, we love you being a part of the conversation. You can ask any questions. You can give any comments. We will throw them right up on the screen, but you got to do that through a super sticker or a donation. You got to remember, man, Coach and I are working, and this is how you, this is how you support our brand. So get into the conversation, super sticker or donation, and we'll bring you right up on the screen.
Boom and boom. All right, a lot of topics. And I thought we'd start a little bit different today, Vince, because sometimes I get in my feels. And you know how I feel about you. We've grown so close over the last several months. We do a great show. But I also sometimes, and it happened to me this weekend, I was out in Palm Desert, and I was watching my son play golf, and there's all the mountains. I was like, man, how did we get here? And that kind of happened overseas at a live event with Cody and CM Punk. And I want to run the video and show you. This is CM Punk as Cody Rhodes was being introduced. We're going to go sound full. Watch the reaction from CM Punk and how it all kind of just flooded to him where he realized where he's been and where he's at right now. Producer man, if you don't mind. So clearly, Vince, it kind of hit him as he's crying, had to wipe away the tears. He's had an incredible last 10 to 15 years. And I don't think any of us could have even predicted that he'd be where he is right now. What did you make of that video?
Well, Coach, you know me, man. When we're talking about tears, I immediately equate that to mamby-pamby, girly man, sissy Mary. You know, I don't. I'm not a tears guy in professional sports. However, that is a totally different moment. I mean, good for him. Good for him, man. He has endured a lot in the last 10 to 15 years from everything that went down. The WWE, man, finding out they let him go on his wedding day, I believe. Then going to UFC, things not turning out quite the way he wanted. Then going to AEW, things really not turning out the way they wanted. Then going back home to the WWE, Coach, you know, he's probably walking on eggshells for a very, very long time. But it seems like he is in a very, very happy place. And for that, I really, really am happy, man. He deserves it. You know, Coach, you spoke earlier, man, as we get older in life, you've got to stop and smell the roses, Coach, because we never do. You know, we're always grinding. What's next? Get on the next plane. Make the next town. You know a coach better than anybody. So to be able to stop and smell the moment and enjoy that particular time and bring everybody along with them, I have nothing but good things to say about that, Coach.
I echo the same thing because I've, with all the different things I've done in my career, I'm now probably the happiest that I've ever been, still with a million things going on. And I also equate the fact that Cody Rhodes was in that video. And we know that Cody was the biggest name face behind the launch of AEW. He was the guy that got 10,000 seats in an arena in Chicago as an indie show that showed them we can start this thing, and then they were lucky enough to get Tony Khan's money, and then they bring CM Punk in. So for those two guys to have that moment, and especially for Cody, who was in the WWE also, left with really not doing much at all, I think it was just one of those moments that came together. And I know I am mamby-pamby. I'll be the first one to admit it. I really will. I feel like I get in my feelings a lot more. My daughter's 14 months away from leaving the house. So right now I cry all the time. But I also love those moments. And I went back to the night that I was with Rock and Eugene, and we it's the only time I was in the ring that I ever went out of character. Because I remember looking around, Vince. I was in San Diego, California, and I remember thinking to myself, it's as clear as day, how did a little kid from McPherson, Kansas, who the adopted son of a minister and a school teacher, get here with him and with 15,000 people? And sometimes it gets to you. It really does, because you never stop to think about the journey and what you put into it, the ups and the downs. So I loved that video. I really, really, really did.
Coach, I got to tell you that. Listen, let me be perfectly honest, guys. I at this age, I cry at the drop of a hat. I just don't do it publicly. Coach, Field of Dreams, bro. When Kevin Costner realizes that's his dad, I can't handle that. Bro, I can watch that a billion times when he's standing there having that catch with his dad, which we've all done. Coach, I can't handle it.
But Vince, I've never done that.
Really, Coach?
I've never had a catch with my dad because my dad has zero athletic ability in the world. But you know what? My parents, and they came to every single game that I ever played. And in college, my mother, who didn't understand basketball, she would keep track of the points.
Yeah.
And see if her points matched up with the scorebook at the end of the day. 6 years ago, I think I've told you this story, my dad was going into hospice, and he's literally my hero, the nicest human being on planet Earth. And he got on the heart transplant list on their last try. 18 years we'd been trying, never worked.
Unbelievable.
18 years we tried, always no. One last Hail Mary. He gets on the list on a Tuesday. He gets his heart on Thursday.
Gee,
3 days. He leapfrogged 700 and some odd names.
Unbelievable.
How? We still believe that it was something much, much bigger.
Yeah.
He's still alive to this day.
Yeah.
So even though I didn't have him catch, he has been there. And then he used to go with me. This is the craziest part. When I was traveling in the WWE, he became known as Papa Coach. And back then we had those shirts with the WWF logo on it. I gave him a few. He went to the store and got Papa Coach inscribed on the shirt.
That is awesome.
And
man.
I'll take it a step further. He would go sit in catering when I was busy working during the day. Vince trusted him so much because he's a minister, and Vince would come in and sit, and they would talk about, as crazy as it is to believe, Bible verses. And I think Vince went through some things where he felt like, he needed some guidance. Shawn Michaels, my dad would mentor him. Kurt Angle, my dad would mentor him. And he loved being out on the road with me. That's one of the things I miss the most is my dad traveling with me during my WWE days.
Coach, I say this all the time. They need a minister backstage at all wrestling shows. I always talk about that, man, with what the boys and the women go through, how hard that life is, people struggling. Man, I've always felt that should be a permanent job and a permanent position in every wrestling locker room. I've been saying that for years, Coach.
Maybe one day they'll have it. We'll see. Real quick, I know we're going to read super stickers, but if you write something stupid, I don't care what you give us. We're not going to read it. Zheng Zhong, I'm talking to you. We're not going to read something stupid. Okay.
Coach.
Yeah, that's just how I feel. I'm feeling it today, Vince.
Well, I was gonna, Jing Jong said, "Go ahead, Vince. Tell us how Raw is gonna suck." Listen. I'm not Nostradamus. I could tell you how much SmackDown sucked. Coach, you think Jing Jong is interested in how much SmackDown sucks? And Coach, listen, anybody can argue with me, Coach. Coach, we're weeks away. No Cena, no Cody, no Rock. And you're going to sit there and tell me what a great show it was? Really?
I try to, because you and I are usually on opposite sides of the fence, which is why I love doing this, because we don't always agree, but we always end up finding the same place because you have to talk it through. And in the world of pro wrestling, most people just say, I hate it, it sucks, but they don't want to give a reason how to make it better. And that's what I love about you. So I don't like what was written here, but here's what I would have done. So we knew that Seth Rollins was going to go to SmackDown. We didn't understand why he told the crowd in Brussels, I'm going to go after Roman Reigns. I'm going to go after CM Punk, but not in this building tonight. So the crowd can be upset about that and then gets there. Did you feel like, even though there was no Cena and no Rock, that the other big storyline, that was as a telltale sign that there was going to be a triple threat at WrestleMania, as I think I've ever seen in my life? Would you agree with that?
And Coach, again, Jing Jong, if you want to pay me $5 to comment on this, please do. Coach, I'm sorry, man. We obviously very predictable. We go to the end of the show. We're going to have the big pull apart. Bro, somebody's got to teach Seth Rollins how to throw a punch. I mean, seriously, man, you're in there with Punk and Roman, and it's supposed to be like this hatred and this animosity. And bro, as Kevin Nash would say, you're throwing these egg beaters. Come on, man. We've got to do better than that. That's not being negative. Coach, you want to hear something hysterical?
Sure.
I swear to God, one of my favorite movie franchises, Coach, is John Wick. Okay?
Yes.
And bro, John Wick in every movie gets shot at 5 billion times, but he lifts the Kevlar coat gimmick and never gets hit with a bullet. Bro, I'm sitting there on Saturday night. I'm watching John Wick 4 for about the 12th time. And I'm saying to myself, bro, how is it that I'm watching John Wick? I'm believing everything I see, but then I put on the WWE. I don't believe anything. I don't. And bro, John Wick is so far-fetched, bro, with the fights and the guns and the swords and the killings. It is so far-fetched, and I find myself believing what I'm watching, but then I go over to simple punches. And here's why I say this, man. You know, guys, you got to understand, I watch the Attitude Era every 2 weeks, Coach, because I review the Attitude Era show.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, I'm watching this week and it was gold dust. And it was Dustin Rhodes just snapping those punches. And I'm believing everything I see. You can't do this mamby-pamby stuff and expect people to believe it, man.
How do you think at this point, and I'm being accused in the chat of, it gets people in grades, Coach, you got to have thicker skin. Thicker skin. This is my analysis. We're talking about nothing's hurting my feelings. We just want it to be great on the final road to WrestleMania. Vince, we've been talking about this for months and months. And if we're noticing it, they're not just average punches. These are bad punches. And when you're a stud, when you're one of the top 5 to 7 guys in the company, and you're going to be fighting against the Roman Reigns and the CM Punks, and just so you know, when I was trained, they teach you different ways. And so they teach you that when you're hitting somebody on the back, you can hit me as hard as you want, Vince. It's not going to hurt me.
Right.
It's not going to hurt me.
Right.
It's not like you're punching me in the face right here. And some of the greats, like the really great workers, they could hit you so fast and hard, it looks like it hits you, and they never touch you. Shawn Michaels' super kick, if you have the balls to stand there and not move your head, he can literally kick your whiskers on your face. He was so good at the super kick. And that's what a great worker truly is. And a lot of people that have come in the last 5 to 10 years that are more worried about social media engagement and outfits and sunglasses and not about the actual working in the ring. When I watch Braun Breaker right now, and he just tore, what's his name, I Show Speed in half at the Royal, that is what everything needs to be look like. If I'm going to pay $5 billion and I'm Netflix, I want to make it look, Vince, like it's a real fight. And he's kind of the only guy right now that I look at and say, he's a main eventer, but yet his punches couldn't break an eggshell.
And Coach, I do want to say this. I really hope people understand this. And if you don't understand it, you don't understand it. Fine. Coach, I'm not looking for it. It's not that I'm looking for it, but it's right in front of your face. And, you know, like I said, when you're hitting a Roman that way, I mean, am I supposed to believe that's hurting them? Again, man, I'm not a worker. I don't like to criticize their work. But when you are a fan and you're watching this and it's blatantly fake, man, you've got to tighten that stuff up, Coach.
And they have agents, just so people know, and this is why I think you guys come to this show, is I clearly I was not a great worker, but I had a ton of matches. And when I became a character, Vince, and wasn't just a backstage interviewer or wasn't just a guy calling Raw or SmackDown, the first thing that Vince McMahon said to me, Coach, if you're going to do this, then you have to get in and you have to train because you're at the highest level. And at the highest level, this is Vince McMahon's words. Mm-hmm. He goes, at the highest level, when people watch this, they've got to believe that you are hurt. You've got to believe that if you deliver something, it hurts. It cannot be, because back then, Vince, people are paying $69.99, $79.99 to get a pay-per-view. And you want to believe that's two of the biggest studs in the world that are going to settle it live on pay-per-view. And that's what WrestleMania is. And I don't know if they're scared of how he's going to react, but don't you think that with the agents that they have backstage, with some of the workers from years ago, don't you believe they've talked to him about this?
Yeah, Coach, I don't. This has been an ongoing problem for a long time. And as I said, man, I'm not looking for it to pick on the guy. I'm just telling you, when you are a fan watching this from home and you see that, it just takes you out of it, Coach. It just takes you out of it.
I will say a positive in this whole triple threat is the fact that Paul Heyman's involved. And we've heard backstage that he's working with Braun Breaker. You see Braun Breaker instantly elevates his performance. Now that we have this, and I see it in the chat, I see it online, I don't read the dirt sheets, but it almost feels like people would love to see Roman CM Punk with Paul's involvement as that story, and they see Seth as kind of the outlier that's unneeded. Do you feel that way?
I don't know, man, because you got to remember, Coach, you still have Brock Lesnar sitting on the sidelines. So, you've got, again, I don't know how they want to play this with the timing of this. Are they waiting till, a verdict comes in on Vince? I don't know what they're waiting for, but Lesnar is a Paul Heyman guy. So, yes. I mean, you could do a whole thing, man, where it's going back and forth between Punk and Roman and Heyman's in the middle. And all of a sudden, man, you bring out Brock Lesnar to lay both of them out.
Oh, my God.
And I mean, so it really depends, I think, Coach, of how they want to play their cards.
If you guys want to become a premium member, that's also a way to be a part of the show because we value all of you. Scott, you've been a premium member. We've only been here for a couple of months. You've been here with us for a month, so thank you very much. I may be in the exception. I enjoy the build-up, but I always have low expectations on everything, so everything is good. Can you imagine, Vince, if all fans were like that? Can you imagine if everybody walked into Raw or SmackDown and said, I'm just going to enjoy myself for what they're going to give me, and then hopefully what they give me exceeds my expectations? That'd be a really cool way to watch pro wrestling, would it not?
Yeah, that's interesting. But, Coach, I'm trying to equate that to real sports.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, are you watching your team? So in this case, it would be, are you watching your wrestler? Are you watching your team to be okay and you're not expecting them to be great?
No.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, when I'm watching my team, I'm expecting them to be great. And if they're not great, I'm going to cut a promo on them.
Well, as a whole, yeah, I'm just talking like different storylines as far as surprising. I guess that's the way I was referring to it.
Yeah.
But no, I want everything to be great.
Right.
I mean, I think about, I've been a part of, Vince, 16 WrestleManias.
Yeah.
16.
Unbelievable.
I called, 9 or 10 of them. And Vince, to me, when you're at the highest level, and I don't think we can understate this, this is the highest level of this business that now has so to me, if you're asking the NFL is, with all due respect, not the UFL. You're not going to have B-level football players playing the NFL. So I don't want B-level work happening here. I was just referring to storylines and such. So we have that. I love the Brock Lesnar idea, and I know that he has said publicly that he doesn't want to be a part of a WWE that does not involve Vince McMahon. Vince revered Brock Lesnar. He loved big guys. He loved Andre the Giant. For some reason, that was just Vince's thing.
Yeah.
But Vince, can you imagine the pop? Can you imagine the pop if Brock came out at WrestleMania and just ripped through? Because there's no titles on the line. So if you were writing for that particular storyline, you're not screwing anybody out of a championship. So to me, I would have him come down and wreck all three guys. The question is, would their egos allow them to be a part of that? So then moving forward, you could have a 4-month thing where you got 4 guys, including Brock, in the mix. Do you think their egos would allow them to do that?
I think so, because Brock is believable. It's not like you're doing this for some jabron. Like you see Brock Lesnar and you know he could kill you. So I don't think that would be an issue. But his comments are very, very, very interesting, Coach, because there was nobody more loyal to Vince than Cena and Taker. Are Cena and Taker involved in the company? You know what I'm saying? So, if the time is right, the money is right, the spot is right, I think Vince McMahon would be the first one to tell Brock, bro, I appreciate your loyalty. You need to get back in the game. I think Vince McMahon would be the first one to say that.
By the way, today is the Undertaker's birthday. At the end of the show, we're going to tell our favorite Undertaker stories. You don't want to go anywhere for that. Mine will completely surprise you. I can promise you that. I agree with that, Vince. I think right now, as we've seen, Vince get back out there, I think the world is changing. The one thing that I've had to realize in the last week is sometimes when you get in your own bubble or you're building a brand or we've got multiple shows here at BTT, I think either A, I'm more important in this space, but I think what I'm starting to realize is that in the real world, a lot of people lean more towards we're all flawed, we all make mistakes. I'm over the whole Vince being shunned thing because when he showed up on the basketball game last week, I saw very little negative online.
Yeah.
I saw he looks great. He's dressed like $1 million. He's hanging with his son. I never want to come from a place of they should be separated. I can't imagine being separated from my son. And so now I think if I'm Vince and I'm trying to fill the landscape and I got Brock out there, and by the way, Taker's making almost $5 million a year in his Legends deal. So that's why he came back. I feel like we could see some big-time changes after WrestleMania into the summer. It's just my gut. I feel like something's going to happen, Vince. Do you feel that at all, or maybe I'm just in pie in the sky land?
Coach, people in general are very, very, very forgiving. Mm-hmm. And my advice to anybody would be, as Coach said, man, we are all flawed. We are not perfect. We are sinners. Coach knows darn well there is only one perfect entity in this world, and we are not him.
Not even close.
Nor are we ever close. But, again, what it is, Coach, and it's so easy, yet so hard for people. You know what, man? If I am flawed and I did mess up and I did sin, I'm sorry. That's it, Coach. That's it. A simple apology, man. That's all people want. And, if Vince is guilty of anything and he knows he's guilty of anything, at the end of the day, that's all you have to say. I am a flawed human being. I make no excuses. I fell short. I failed. All I can do is apologize. That's all you could do, Coach.
Would it be amazing if he actually did that? And by the way, premium member certified G, thank you for being a premium member. Cancel culture is dying off, Coach. He might resurge. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah. I think we were so far on one side that now people are like, man, we believed way too many people. Not that there aren't negative things going on, but Vince, can you imagine if Vince sits down and he literally doesn't make excuses, doesn't say anything other than, I've had 2 years to think about this, and I know I made mistakes. I know I did X, Y, and Z, and I apologize for that. Settles the lawsuit and says, listen, I'm 80 years old, and I don't have that much time left, and I would love nothing more than to come back, contribute in a positive way. And if he did that, Vince, I think guys like you, like myself, like Big Tommy, like Brock Lesnar, like John Cena, like Shane McMahon, they would have to seriously think about hopping on that train, because I think once it got going, all that negativity would start to move away, and now you could have something that would be really, really fun, legit competition with a leader who truly understands how it's done. I think that is quite possible.
I do too, Coach. But Coach, I got to tell you, and you and I have, we just have similar backgrounds the way we were raised. I mean, you said earlier your dad's a minister, and I know that. But that's why, Coach, I always keep in the back of my mind, if Vince McMahon is guilty, Janelle Grant went through something very, 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 very horrible. You cannot write that off because, Coach, like you, I have a daughter. So that's where my mind goes immediately. Oh my God, if this ever happened to my daughter. So I'm with you. I'm with you. However, if he did do her wrong, that apology needs to go to her as well. He would never be able to erase those things if he is guilty, but he certainly can take responsibility for it.
No doubt. We have a super sticker, Vince, from Scott. He said, also premium member. Thank you, Scott, very much. My low exceptions is because, or expectations, is because I am a Minnesota sports fan. To give you some insight on my views, I love to listen to the show while I'm in working. Scott, this is exactly why we do this at this time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We love doing it at this time of the day because, Vince, I was a little shocked at how many people listen at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah,
I really do. Just put us on while they're working.
I think Scott is putting a little too much heat, though, on Minnesota franchises. I mean, my God, the Vikings have had great teams. The Twins are always a competitive team. I think he's beating up his hometown a little too much, Coach.
By the way, our live audience watching right now, because I tell you, it's really, really big for us as we're growing. So thank you guys very much, whether you're watching on social media, YouTube, whatever the case might be. Vince, just so you know, because I'm very transparent. And I do believe that, I have a show that's on national television, Stadium, Amazon, DirecTV. And I've told the bosses there, I said, guys, when I get day 2, day 3, because right now it's Monday nights at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, this show is going to be there. Yeah. That's how good I think what we talk about. Like the last 15 minutes, it's not fluff. This is real life stuff, guys. And this is real life stuff in a business that all of us, that's why you guys are watching, all of us love this. And we just want it to be great, and we want people to be great. That's it. That's it. All right, let's move on, because we mentioned at the top there was no Cena, there was no Rock at SmackDown. And I think the way they were spreading it out, Vince, they thought, okay, if I have Roman and CM Punk, maybe people will not mention that. But the same day that SmackDown came out, they had this gorgeous new poster online with Cody Rhodes and John Cena basically finally at WrestleMania, reminding all of us of that matchup, but yet it wouldn't be at SmackDown. And this is one of the things I was a little bit worried about when they announced multiple weeks overseas, is how many guys and ladies would be willing, able, because let's be honest, Vince, I don't ever want to go out of this country again. I really, really don't. I don't like traveling internationally. I never did. We had some fun, but if I'm Roman Reigns, I'll probably tell him, hey, I'll go to one show. You guys pick the week. But now, as we are less than 4 weeks away from WrestleMania, to me, you got to have these stars on every single show, even if, and I thought your idea was great, put them in a video. This is about broadcasting to the masses, not the 15,000 in the arena.
Coach, can I give you a second alternative? Because
yes,
people need to understand this. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for them, because I was in that job. I had that job. I had that position. So I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for them. Listen, Coach, aside from, nobody there has a phone. We've already established that, so they can't shoot anything. So aside from that, Coach, if you're planning this and you know what you're doing, okay? When Rock is there and Rock is in the building and that show is over, you are going to say, okay, Rock, you're not going to be, but you're going to miss the next 3 shows. No problem, Rock. We're going to shoot this with you in the back for show 1. We're going to shoot. That's planning, bro. That's part of television, man. You've got to plan for that. So if Rock is there and ain't going to be there for another 3 weeks, then shoot stuff with him in the back for the next 3 weeks to follow. That's why I am not going to sit here and make excuses for them, Coach.
Understood.
That's how you shoot television, man.
We do have 2 super stickers. We'll get to that, I promise, here momentarily. I do want to address what Vince just said. So just so you guys at home understand, to me, at the best time for these storylines was the Attitude Era. Vince, I know you did this, and I certainly did this, is whenever they came up with a long-term storyline and they said, all right, this is going to happen at WrestleMania, they would write it back sometimes 6 to 12 months. So then every single show, you knew exactly where you were going to go, and you weren't going to get caught up and going, oh, let's just get something on the books this week. And even when Vince, and this happened a lot, that they would write all week and then he'd tear up the whole show. What he didn't tear up was the game plan of what they were trying to accomplish in every single show for those main storylines. And that's why everything was so great. And now I feel like they've added so many shows sometimes,
That's it.
that they're just trying to get to the finish line.
That's exactly what it is, Coach. And we've been saying that for months and weeks, that serving all these masters and developing all this content, the quality was going to be. That's common sense, guys. That's common sense. The more you're trying to churn out, the less and less effective that content is going to be.
All right, how you get a part of this show is you can become a premium member or via Super Sticker. Let's go now to another Super Sticker, Beyond the Script podcast. Love him here at Coach and Bro. I don't think TKO will let Vince back. They love what Triple H is doing, and Rock won't give himself job. We're not talking about Vince coming back to WWE.
Yeah. And not only that, but Beyond the Script, to be honest, you don't know if they love Hunter. I mean, how do you know that they love Hunter? Well, what you see on the screen doesn't mean that that's the sentiment behind the scenes. You have no idea.
I will stand on this, and Michael, I'll get you in 1 second, I promise, because I've seen it, been there, done that, and I've told you many times, Vince, that the greatest skit segment I was ever a part of was The Rock, Eugene, San Diego, and we were in the room, and Triple H was the crossover. He was the crossover, and the crossover means you have the match going from like 8:55 to 9:05. And when something else goes longer, you squeeze that down. Well, Triple H that night was the crossover. And I remember saying to Rock, I said, Rock, this feels longer than the 12 minutes that they gave us for this. And he looked at me and was like, hey, Coach, haven't I taught you two things? I said, yeah. He goes, what's number one? And I said, if it's great, there's nothing that the boss can say about it. We always used to call Vince the boss. There's nothing the boss can say about it. He goes, exactly. And what's number two? That if it's Triple H, you don't care? He goes, bingo! He hates Triple H. And they're playing nice in the sandbox. But understand, when you hear about executives running WWE, it ain't Triple H. You hear about creatively he's running WWE. But Vince, make no mistake about it, Rock is above Triple H right now.
Yeah,
that's obvious.
And Coach, let me tell you something. I've been in situations where you don't get along with somebody, you don't like somebody, you are a professional, and you do try to work together. Ain't gonna work, Coach. It ain't gonna work.
Not long term.
It ain't gonna work, bro.
No. All right, we've got 3 more super stickers. You guys are amazing. This is how you get your voices on the show. Michael says, hey, Coach and Vince, tomorrow Dark Side is premiering Mick Foley episode, Hell in a Cell. Vince, how did you deal with Mick falling off the cage?
Coach, I will tell you a great story. First of all, I thought he was dead. Second of all, I was very, very concerned about his health. So I was at the curtain when they wheeled him back.
Wow.
Okay. And all I could think about was his health. Not, oh, great match, Mick. Bro, like, are you okay? Coach, I will never forget this as long as I live. I asked him if he's okay. I don't know. You don't know Francois. Francois was there before you were there. But Francois was a Frenchman that used to work on the talent. So immediately Francois is putting Mick back together. And I said to Mick, bro, are you okay? I swear to God, Coach, this tells you everything you need to know about Mick Foley. He is beaten. He is bruised. He is half dead. He is bloodied. His teeth are through his lip.
Oh, my God. I remember the pictures.
Coach, he looks up at me and he says, Vince, was it better than Shawn and Taker?
Stop it.
Coach, all he cared about. And I looked at him and I was like, are you out of your freaking mind after what you just did out there? Like, that's what you're thinking? I mean, I don't know about you, Coach, but I want somebody to tell me I'm not going to die. That's what I want. That's all he cared about, was that match outdid Shawn and Taker.
it's so easy to forget that he built his reputation in Japan as somebody who could take
Right.
a lot of pain. And all people, because you don't see the Japan stuff. You see and so that's one thing. I remember seeing an interview somewhere, Vince, where he actually told Taker up there, if you don't throw me, I'm going to throw myself, and then we're both going to look like idiots.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I'm sure that is 1,000% true. That sounds exactly like Mick. Absolutely, yes.
I had the good fortune when he really started not being able to work. They started doing a lot of home videos and things like that. So they made him my partner, and we would toss to, they would. You remember those pay-per-view channels that you could watch, and so we would have lead-ins, and they'd put up a home video, and they would chop it up, and he was my partner. It was so much fun because he could have cared less about anything. You hear the stories about he'd carry around that little briefcase, and he'd have underwear in it, and he'd have like a pair of sweatpants maybe in it. I've never met a human being that literally could not care about anything but what you just said more than Mick Foley. I can't wait to watch that Dark Side of the Ring.
1,000%. Yep.
We have another super sticker, Cliffside. We got several to get to, Vince, actually. Coach, you have any stories working with WWE writers? Well, I've got my partner right here. But I think what they're saying, I have one. I have one that I can't tell that happened around 9/11. Maybe we'll do a pay-per-view special, and I'll throw it in there. But there's a guy that's still there that I made his life, Vince, and you could probably know what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to tell that story. He may be married now. I don't know. But there was a time when I went when I was at ESPN, I went to Madison Square Garden, and this is when I knew the business had changed. And they wanted me to go out with the New Day and do a dance, and then announce to Madison Square Garden that SportsCenter was going to be at WrestleMania. And I convinced the bosses at ESPN to take SportsCenter to WrestleMania. Still we went 2 years or 3 years, and I remember the little writer, he had to be 23, 24. This is going to drive you insane, Vince. He walks up and he hands me a script. And I said, what's this? He goes, oh, this is your script to do your promo with the New Day and then announce that SportsCenter is coming to WrestleMania. And I looked at him, I thought he was kidding. I said, you're trying to tell me how to say how my show is going to WrestleMania, and I'm one of the greatest promo guys in the history of the business? And he's like, well, they want you to say this word for word. I said, I got it. He goes, no. I'll get in trouble if you don't say that word for word. And I looked at him, I said, listen, here's lesson 101. When you've got an OG, when you've got a guy who spent 12 years here, who called WrestleManias, and now I do SportsCenter every single night, I think I can sell it.
Yeah.
And that's the world now again, that was 2017, but still, I don't think that much has changed. They don't want anybody changing those scripts, man.
Yeah, you can see it when you watch the shows now. You could see it. I mean, it's easy. It's easy to see. I mean, SmackDown, Charlotte Flair ate up Tiffy time. And if I'm Tiffy time and I'm working off a script and Charlotte starts eating me up, I'm wiping my backside with that script, Coach.
No doubt.
With all due respect, because everybody said Charlotte made her look like the deer in the headlights. You got to protect your business, man.
100%. And your business is your brand, is what Vince
sir.
means by that.
Yes, sir.
Another super sticker quickly. Vince, did you mentor writers in WWE, WCW?
All the time, man. All the time. I always took young writers under my wing because I knew I was not going to be writing it forever. And that's very, very, very important. And it's a practice that I don't think is done anymore.
All right. Angel, super sticker. Randy will join Rock and Cena for Backlash PLE. Is Backlash the one after Mania?
I would think so. I would be shocked if Rock and Cena are at Backlash. I would too.
Absolutely shocked.
Yeah.
I don't think there's. This is the one thing I'm very, very, very highly interested in, is what the content, the shows are going to look like after WrestleMania. Because Vince, if we get a Stone Cold at WrestleMania, if we get an incredibly creative night 1 and night 2, it's going to feel like falling off a cliff. And this is where I wish that they would take a week or two off and treat WrestleMania like it's the Super Bowl. Can you imagine watching Patrick Mahomes the next week playing a regular season game in the NFL after the Super Bowl win or lose?
Yeah. That's a great
the
point.
Equivalent.
I love that, Coach. I've not heard that before, but that is a excellent point, because that's what it's going to be. I mean, that's what it's going to be. That's what we're looking at.
There's other things that are going on right now within the company, and we saw, and essentially doesn't have a lot to do with the WWE business, but there's a lot of endeavors going to go private, a lot of this stuff. But when I look at some of the things that are happening, Vince, it speaks to, I don't know what the future holds. And what I'm talking about is this, is that Alexa Bliss, who came back at the Royal Rumble, they put her into the Elimination Chamber match. And I thought, okay, now she looked extremely tiny to me. And she already wasn't a big performer anyway, but she looks even smaller now. But we talked about, man, it wouldn't be perfect for her to go to Wyatt 6 and be a part of that kind of crazy thing. And surely she signed a contract. But now all of a sudden, Vince, they have yanked her off all of her appearances at WrestleMania week. She's not on any of the advertisements. And nobody is saying anything other than she said, I'm fine on social media. But Vince, there's a lot of things right now up in the air. And if you're not the top, 5 to 10 talent, I think I would be very, very worried, because also remember, after WrestleMania is routinely, historically, the time where they clean the shelves, so to speak, and start over when it comes to talent.
Yeah. Coach, the continuous start and stop, that will kill any talent, Coach, because you've got to start all over again. And it seems to me like they had some kind of a plan for Alexa Bliss. They bring her back to Royal Rumble. It seems to me like plans changed again, because I'm reading now she's going to come back with a stable. But, Coach, I am telling you from experience, if you stop and start with talent, it is so difficult to get them over, man. So difficult.
Especially when they've missed so much time.
Yeah.
With, I think she had a baby. I think.
Yeah.
Don't quote me. Yeah. Had a baby, and I just saw another, Corey Graves' wife, Carmella.
Yeah.
She was just doing her interview, her podcast. I was a little bit shocked. She was asked a direct question, because she said, "Hey, my husband, he's getting his run, and do I not have my run because I had a baby that I had to take time off?" And essentially she said, I think I'm getting blackballed because I took time off to have a baby. She said that in a podcast.
Yeah.
Which, if you're trying to get your job back, probably not the best thing to accuse somebody of discriminating. I don't know. I don't know.
But it's interesting, Coach, because what I just said was the WWE creatively, they constantly stop and start. But Bo Dallas, Wyatt 6, bro, you forever see them start, stop, especially with the females. They do this all the time. So in other words, Coach, it's okay for them to stop and start, but if you're a talent having a baby, oh no, you'll kill your run, you'll kill your time. But they do that constant, and bro, it's ironic because they especially do that with the female.
No doubt. And I was a big fan of Carmella. I thought she was really good. She could talk. That's something that is she could talk. She could cut a promo. And I think right now the female roster is lacking a little bit. So I could definitely see a spot for her. So I feel bad that she feels that way. But that kind of plays into the narrative that we're talking about. And it's going to be, I think this is an incredibly pivotal time, Vince, for the entire company and the business to make sure and get it right. And I would also be opening up that checkbook for Logan Paul, because these part-time guys that are dynamic like a Logan Paul, man, they need to have these every single week on these shows. Every single week.
I agree 1,000%. I still feel, Coach, I still feel that's why they've got Becky Lynch in their back pocket, because they know it's going to be a major letdown after WrestleMania, and that is one name that they can pull out of their back pocket, and I think you'll see that after WrestleMania.
We have 2 things left, and thank you all very much. I mean, this is the busiest the chat's ever been. You guys are amazing, and today's been really positive. You're talking amongst yourselves. Super stickers if you want to be a part of the show. Premium memberships. You guys are starting to get it, and we appreciate that. All right, so we want to end with 2 things. This video came across. I want to start showing more fun things from the world of wrestling, Vince, because it's so easy to get caught up in the seriousness of it.
Right.
And recently, Chris Jericho was outside of the ring, and we know he's over the top and he's had an amazing career, but I want producer man, and watch this. I'm going to lay out so we can hear the sound. Here's Jericho interacting with a small fan recently at ringside. Producer man, if you don't mind.
Do that again, kid, I dare you. I'll ground you. You want to get grounded, kid? I'll send it to your room. No, your mother. What'd you say? You got a body now. Shame. You got that? What you gonna do?
Oh. All right.
Well, Coach, I am calling a timeout on this, Coach.
All right. Why are you calling a timeout?
Because I worked with Chris for a while. Bro, knowing the brilliance of Chris Jericho, Coach, 100% a plant.
Oh, come on,
Come
Vince,
on,
no!
man. Chris, bro,
No!
who would do that other than Chris Jericho? That was such a Jericho moment. Come on, man. You've got to contemplate whether or not Chris was behind putting that kid out there. Come on.
I knew you were going to say that because I thought it. And I think he said something like 14. That kid had to be, what, 7?
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
8. Maybe
Yes.
8.
Yes.
And I wish everybody, because he gets a lot of flack, but I've had my ups and my downs with Chris Jericho, but nobody's reinvented himself more than Chris Jericho.
No.
And that kind of stuff is fun, and that's why I've always loved house shows. You can't do that on TV. And that's why when the WWE says we're cutting 100 out, that's classic Chris Jericho at a house show, or when the TV cameras are off.
Classic.
Awesome. And
I'm going to go one step further too.
Yes.
That kid may have even been blood related to him in some way. I'm going to go that far.
Well, I heard that they took him backstage and met a bunch of the wrestlers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
that was great.
Real quick, true story about Jericho. I'm a former tag team champion of the world. You know that, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you're a former world champion. We're champions.
Yeah.
So I was defending the tag team titles in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Chris Jericho's hometown. And there's a lot of old school traditions, Vince, that some of the guys play into. And one of them is you don't wear your title belt around backstage. You just don't do it. And so, of course, if I'm going to be a tag team champion, what's the first thing I'm going to do, Vince?
Wear that title everywhere you go, man.
You're damn right.
Yes.
And so we're in Winnipeg. It's literally below 0. It was so cold that day that the night before, that up in Canada, they have plug-in cars where you have to plug your car in. We pulled in, checked into the hotel. They said, listen, don't turn your car off. Leave it running all night. Lock your doors because you won't be able to start it in the morning. That's how cold it was. So we're at the arena. Jericho is losing his mind that I'm wearing my tag team title belt around backstage. So much so that he threatened me physically if I did not take it off because I was disrespecting the business that particularly. That's Chris Jericho.
Yes, it is.
That's Chris Jericho.
Chris.
But we got along great.
And like you said, Coach, I mean, he does get a lot of flack. Bro, gosh, I wish I had as much talent in my body as Chris Jericho has in his pinky. Like, my God, this guy is so talented. Come on, man.
So good. All right, we're going to wrap the show up today. And again, if you miss any of this live, and we encourage you to join us live every single Monday and Thursday. And I know I get joked at a lot if I miss a show. We've got a lot going on, and we try to do our best to be here for every show. But we have jobs, right, Vince? As we try to build this, we have jobs, and mine, unfortunately, draws me away. So I appreciate the jokes, but that's what it is. Today's the Undertaker's birthday, and I thought it might be fun as we wrap up the show if we tell our favorite or one of our favorite Undertaker personal stories that we have. So, Vince, if you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So this one's going to come out of left field. It's not about The Undertaker working. It's not about none of this. So 9/11, Vince, everything got pushed back because of the tragedy in New York City. So our schedule was we ended up in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl because Raw was at UNLV the next night. So the boys had a house show in upstate Nevada, and then they were flying in. So we were staying at the Embassy Suites Hotel, right across from the Hard Rock Hotel. And they were nice enough to give us the lobby with a big screen. And, it's West Coast, so it starts at like 1 o'clock. And so I'm mixing Coronas and Bloody Marys. Just the worst combination. And as I'm 3-4 hours in, I'm feeling good. In come the boys. And in walks The Undertaker. And Undertaker had this thing back in the day where when he decided that you were worthy of being truly a part of the business, he would do what he called kind of an initiation. His initiation, Vince, was 10 Jack Daniel's shots.
Oof.
Okay?
Oof.
So he walks up to me, slaps me on the back, and he goes, "Today's your day, Coach." And I'm already 4 hours in. Today's my day for what? You've earned yourself. You're a part of what we do. And let's go sit over here. And then he gives you his wisdom. So we're sitting at a table facing each other, Vince, and he'll look at you and he'll be like, okay, now it's on you to do X, Y, and Z. It's on you to do this. He truly cared about his role that much. And then at the end of every little thing, you take a shot. I must have taken my 10, and he took his 10 too. I must have taken those 10 in 20 to 25 minutes.
Oh, God, Coach.
So everything's a blur after that. And I somehow got help to my room. The next day I wake up, I stand up, and I kid you not, Vince, I face planted into the wall onto the floor because I was still intoxicated from the night before. Okay. So now I'm feeling sick. It's feeling awful. I somehow get to the arena. So you remember how the fans used to hang out behind the arena? Well, they're there. I opened the door, and Vince, I kid you not, I got sick right in the parking lot. And I am cursing The Undertaker, Undertaker. Right? So I'm hiding all day. And I had a skit with one of the talent that I can't remember who it was. So they came and got me. And apparently, Vince, at some point during all of this, courtesy of The Undertaker, I slapped the Big Show in his chest 3 different times.
Oh, Coach.
I don't remember it. I don't remember it. It was a mess.
Coach, what are you doing? What are you doing, Coach?
It gets worse, Vince. So I traveled with my best buddy, Todd Grisham. And so we were going to have, the next night was going to be L.A. And do you know what week this was in the business? This was the week where Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash came back to the WWE. So Scott says, I've done 21 Jaegers in 5 minutes. Work the next day. You're better than me, Scott. So me and Todd are driving, highway 15 to go to L.A., and we're in the middle of nowhere. I'm still getting sick. We're talking, this is now 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. I'm still getting sick. I feel awful. We walk into the Marriott at the LAX Marriott, and who's sitting in the lobby? Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and the Big Show. If anybody would have had a camera, a phone, whatever, they could have blown up kayfabe in a heartbeat. Big Show walks over to me, and he goes, "We have a score to settle." I said, "What are you talking about, Big Show? What are you talking about?" He was like, "You disrespected me in front of the boys. I need to make it right." And I'm like, "Oh, this was Undertaker's fault. Undertaker made me do that." I still don't know what he's talking about. And he goes, "No, you slapped me 3 times in the hotel yesterday, so you're going to get slapped 3 times with my overhand, big hammock hands that he had in the ring tomorrow in the Staples Center in front of the whole company." So, Vince, I take it like a man. All right, 3 o'clock, I'll be there. So, Vince, we also had a rule backstage, if you were in Wrestler's Court or whatever, that there's 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and if something doesn't happen, you're done. It's over, right? So, Big Show, as you know, wasn't exactly the, how do we put it, hardest worker in the room. He didn't exactly hang out by the ring all the time. He liked to play dominoes, catering, all that. You remember.
Mm-hmm.
He's in catering playing dominoes. It's 3 o'clock. Do you think I'm going to go get him to tell him that we've got to do this little rendezvous?
Hell no.
Hell no. So everybody is out by the ring waiting, and we're all looking at our watches. And Vince, time was standing still. I swear to God. I was looking at my watch going, go, 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 go. 3:05 hits. No Big Show. Taker standing there, and he looks at me, and he goes, "Well, I guess we know who the real man is around here."
Wow.
So fast forward an hour, that now circulates. So now Big Show is now not only pissed, but he's pissed because The Undertaker put me over.
Yeah, yeah.
He walks up to me in the hallway, "Coach, right here, right now." I go, "Oh, hell to the no." I said, "You had your chance. You were playing dominoes. We're done." I swear to you, Vince, I had to look over my shoulder for the next 2 to 3 years.
Oh, of course. It was coming, man. It was coming. It was coming, man.
It was coming. And it wasn't until 2005 on a flight to Afghanistan that guy took a half full can of soda pop. And we haven't showered in a day. We're somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean. And he looks at JBL, who's like his big brother. He always wanted. And he takes it and he slams it and smashes it on my chest as I'm dead asleep. And now I've got orange soda pop all over me. Vince, I kid you not, on my kids, I stood up and I squared up at 37,000 feet on a C-130 with Kevin Dunn to my left, Vince in the front, and me and Big Show are going to go. He either backed down or started laughing. I can't quite figure out which one it was, but that's how the whole vendetta stopped. And after that, we were cool.
Yeah.
We even stayed in the same cabin for that trip to Afghanistan, the same trip where I wrestled Ric Flair and I took the figure 2 instead of the figure 4.
Oh my God. That is a great story, man.
Is that incredible?
Absolutely.
Is that incredible?
Great story.
All right. What is your favorite Undertaker story?
Coach, this is the one thing I'll always remember about The Undertaker, because this will tell you everything you need to know. Bro, Undertaker 90% of the time was always on last. He always the dark match, always the main event. We're going to send everybody home happy with The Undertaker. And he was always on last. And Coach, by the time he was on and it was the dark match, a lot of the boys and everybody would clear out because they want to get back to the hotel. They could, get up early, catch a plane. You know the whole routine, right?
Of course.
So, bro, The Undertaker would go out there, last match of the night, every single time, balls to the wall, even if it was a dark match. Okay? So, Coach, I always used to stay till the very last person would leave because, Coach, you thank them
Respect.
You
Respect.
thank them because of you and what you did tonight.
Yes.
I can take care of my family.
Yes.
So you thank each and every one of them. And Coach, I cannot tell you how many times Taker would walk through the back and my eyes would follow him. And he would go to the deepest, darkest corners of the building where Francois would be waiting for him.
I remember Francois.
Taker would lay on the floor in agonizing pain, agonizing back pain. And Francois would go to work. And I remember so many times watching that from a distance where he didn't know I was there. And I would just say, how did he just do that out there? Because you would have thought there was nothing in the world wrong with him. And then to see him perform out there and come to the back and see the reality of the pain this guy was in, bro, that would humble anybody. And that's how I will always remember him, man.
I don't think, and probably to a talent, to a person, doesn't have to be a talent, it could be anybody. I don't think that anybody is more universally respected in the wrestling business than The Undertaker. Would you agree?
1,000%. 1,000%. Yeah.
And for people who don't know, Francois was this he was more than a doctor. He did like really funky he was actually the guy, Vince, and people don't remember this because they weren't in the building. I was. It was 10 feet. He was the guy that was on top of Owen Hart, helping with the CPR when Owen fell from the Raptors. Yeah. And Francois was the guy that was out there helping. And he was not your traditional doctor. Let's just say that. No. But he had a way, and the boys believed in him, and he got them ready.
Yeah.
And man, I wish people, and you see some of it in the behind the scenes stuff that they show now on A&E, the draining of the knee, and I think if people focus more on what the boys and the ladies put themselves through for their entertainment, they'd be a little bit less negative towards them. Yeah. And back then, you're talking about 4 times a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were in main events at house shows.
Yeah.
Because it was crazy. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and it was usually the main event that was going to be on Raw, so the boys could practice that match at the house show. And he was always there.
Coach, you got to remember this for the next show. Are you going to be around Thursday?
Thursday, I will be here. Yes.
I'm going to tell you 2 great Francois things that are very short. But then I got a Francois story I'm going to say for next Thursday that'll blow your doors off. Here's the 2 things that are very short. Coach, I was close with Francois. I actually had a sleepover at his house.
Oh, my gosh.
2 things. Number 1, Coach, I don't know if you remember. Bro, the dude had a drop-dead gorgeous wife. Okay, number 1. Number 2, Coach, I'm sleeping in his house. Okay? Sleepover in his house, minding my own business. I wake up. I am eye to eye with a 6-foot iguana that he had as a pet.
Stop it!
Coach,
stop it!
As a freaking pet. It was late. I got in there. I didn't see the thing. I fell asleep. All of a sudden, I wake up. This freaking dragon, bro, looked like it was about to eat. But that's how he was. What's the word for people like that?
Eccentric.
Yes.
Eccentric.
But wait, remind me first thing Thursday, producer man. This story will blow you away.
Okay. I'll remind you for sure. Yeah. This was so much fun today, man. This is so much fun today. I encourage all of you who are watching this, please spread the word. We'd love more and more and more people as we're like 7 months into this thing, but this is what we're going to grow because we want to tell these stories. We want you guys to understand what the business is really like, what it used to be like, what it can be again, and kind of be educated in a lot of different ways. But at the end of the day, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. because we certainly did during our time. All right, that's going to do it for now. For my man Vince Russo, for producer man behind the scenes, and for all of you watching at home, thank you. I am the coach. We'll see you Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time or on demand whenever you want to watch it. There is only one. It's called The Coach and Bro Show. Have a great week.